Time now for sports on 104.7 The Cave. Here's Ned Reynolds.
Mike the Intern, Ned Reynolds. It's Friday, thank God, but we have to start the conversation off with some bad news. Frank Clark going to the enemy. He's going to be a Bronco, but what they're paying him, we definitely couldn't afford that, and honestly, let him get the bag. He helped us get 2 rings, man. Good luck to him.
He is. He's still 29 years old, and the Denver Broncos feel that Frank Clark has some effectiveness still with him. The Chiefs don't. That's why the Chiefs cut him. But I think there was some noise on the Chiefs about bringing him back. However, the front office has to play by the financial rules, number one, and the talent rules, number two. And you're getting some pretty good players in there at pass rusher. While Clark was good and still might be in some circumstances, he also had a lot of injuries and sat out a lot of time for Kansas City. So the Denver Broncos, and I really think from Sean Payton's viewpoint, this is a really great move. Hey, go to the champs. Take some of their players, see what happens. You can't go wrong doing that. So it'll be Frank Clark manning that position for as long as he's healthy with the Denver Broncos.
You know, he's a threat in the postseason. During the regular season, kind of switch him in, switch him out. For me, that amount of money you got's not worth that type of player. It would have been nice to have him, but now the young guys are going to have to step up and show us what they've got. So I'm excited for that for sure. There is a little bit of a weather issue going on at the Belmont Stakes tomorrow, isn't there?
Belmont Stakes is the third jewel in racing's Triple Crown, and it's still very much in jeopardy as far as the running of it is concerned. Now, eventually they will run the race, the stakes race, but when it's going to be, it might not be tomorrow. Television has an interesting way of demanding that something be done, and it is nationally televised, but we'll have to wait and see, because the horses, while the situation that is weather-related, it's the smoke coming from the Canadian forest fires, while that has alleviated to some extent, it still isn't completely solvent as far as the air quality is concerned, and the horses have to pass a special test. And that test will be administered probably very early tomorrow as to whether or not they can do it. They closed down Belmont Park yesterday. They didn't have any racing at all. I think they're going to try today, but we'll have to wait and see. Still, Belmont Park is in Elmont, New York, which is an enclave of New York City. It's right there in the city itself. Not in the center of it, of course, but it still is in the New York environs, and it is being affected by the smoke, so we will wait another probably 24 hours to see whether or not the Belmont Stakes is run tomorrow.
You seen some of those photos?
Oh,
that
yeah.
smoke coming into like New Jersey, New York. I mean, even D.C., I saw a picture of the White House and the haze over D.C. yesterday. Man, it's crazy. I'm glad we're down here right now. All right, so women's softball championships. Sooners just taking over.
Hardly a surprise. They won last night's best of 3, and Oklahoma had already won the first game, win the second game 3-1. And that's a championship, of course. 3rd straight national championship for the Sooners. They're really, really good. They finished their record this year, finished the season, 61 wins and 1 loss. They also finished with 53 consecutive victories, and that is a record in NCAA women's softball. Think about that now, 53 straight wins. They're pretty good. National champs 3 times. Oklahoma wins it again. Women's softball, they back in action next year, and watch out for OU.
And those ladies are tearing up the field. We're talking about the Stanley Cup Championship Finals in Florida. Game 3, who's on top right now?
Well, Las Vegas still is, and you knew they would be, but it's not by the margin that it had been. Las Vegas went in their game, the regulation game ended with a 2-2 tie, but of course you don't end anything with ties in hockey anymore. Used to, but not anymore. And this is the championship. So out they come for an overtime period, and the Florida Panthers, in sudden death, fire home the goal, win it 3-2, and the Panthers are now back in it. It's Las Vegas leading the series 2-1. They'll resume this weekend in Florida and Miami, which is where the NBA series is tonight. But hey, this is the capital of sports, at least for a while anyway, Miami, Florida, and we'll see if the Florida Panthers can sustain things in the Stanley Cup.
We'll see, but man, I tell you what, those nights are definitely looking pretty dangerous. Game 4 of the NBA World Championship Finals is tonight. Nuggets favored in this one?
They are, and you have to understand why they are. The Nuggets lead the series 2-1 with a very impressive win the other night, 109-94 over the Miami Heat. Denver is a very good basketball team, folks. So is Miami. I'm not selling them short at all. They have a lot of talent. Jimmy Butler and that crew can play the game. really need to have their long-distance shooter Tyler Harrow back in there, but Harrow can't play because he has a fractured hand, and they still haven't given him clearance. But over and above all that, Miami can play the game and figures to give Denver another tough time. But like the Broncos, bite my tongue, right? Like the Nuggets in this one, Nuggets are a 3.5-point favorite, as they were the other night when they won it by 109-94. See what happens, but I'll tell you, the Denver team is really strong.
Arguably one of the greatest basketball players in the game on that team right now, at least in this postseason. He's definitely proven that argument, in my opinion. Game time for Missouri State football. Bears opener versus Kansas has changed. Why'd they do that?
Well, they're moving it from Saturday to Friday, and they being the Kansas Jayhawks. The game was to have opened Saturday night. Our teams were to have opened Saturday night in Lawrence, Missouri State versus Kansas, to open up the football season. But Kansas has had a late addition to their schedule, and it's a nationally televised addition. They will be playing Illinois the next week. If Illinois have the Big Ten Conference, Kansas-Illinois figures to be a pretty good game. So the folks at KU said, hey, can we move the game to Friday night, September 1st, and take our chances with that one, because we want to give our team a little bit extra time to recover and get ready for the Illini, which is the following week. So Missouri State, of course, be happy to do that. So the game is being moved now to Friday night in Lawrence, Kansas, KU and Missouri State to open up the football season. And that'll be Friday night, September 1st is when they're going to play the game. Lights will go on about 7 o'clock, and we'll get the football season underway.
Probably not going to get the big dub. It would be nice.
It would be nice.
Go up there and open up the season with a win against a team like the Jayhawks. But what I want to say is it's not too bad of a drive. Maybe make the drive up there on a Friday, go see that game where you're Maroons. Should be nice to see it.
The Bears and Kansas have played before in football, and it is an easy drive. We've broadcast several games from up there. Good facility and a competitive football game.
Hell yeah. Ned, you have a great weekend. I'll see you on Monday.